Hello, my name is Francis Fox, and I am a trained remote viewer. I have a degree of political science from the University of Miami. Don't get one of those. It says useless as politics, if not more. I ran a business successfully for many years. It still exists after 50 years. I built it with strong foundations, and everything that I do, I try to have very strong foundations. If I say something that is wrong and you know that, you should get back to me and let me know. Um, I'm going to be doing the astrology for your sign for the week of October the 6th to the 12th, 2025. I'm not an astrologer. If you put a gun to my head and said, do my astrological chart, I would say, just go ahead and pull the trigger because zero knowledge of how it is that regular astrologers get their information. But I do a lot of medical diagnosis, I do a lot of corporate work. I worked for the government for free for a lot of years, and all the information comes in through psychic skills that all human beings have. We are at the tail end of the apocalypse of revelations of a planetary shift from the power being structured in a triangle hierarchical. One guy, two guys, three guys at the top, and everybody else underneath has to believe everything they say and follow the instructions. That's obviously collapsing, which is good. And we're going into a circular structure of power, which is community. We're not used to it yet. So, this is the mess that we are in. And I am here to try to share extra information. If you want to know if your girlfriend is really in love with you, if your boss is going to fire you, I'm not the type of person that you're going to want to listen to. You need a regular astrologer for that. And there are a lot of really good ones. There's only 5,000 years of research on the influence of planets. And other than modern history, or we don't really know because we don't know what our power leaders do privately, every civilization has always had astrologers as part of the team that advises the people that are in charge and in power. We understand that Reagan did that also, except it was his wife, the one that would trolley on over to that very famous astrologer in Washington, D.C. So I'm going to look at your horoscopes, and I'm actually going to look at them with a question in my head, which is, what do you need to know so that this process of the apocalypse, ascension, end times, so that it be a little bit smoother for you? There's a lot of interesting things happening off planet, having to do with the planet being hit by meteorites, whatever, asteroids. I don't know why I'm talking about that right now. So let us go ahead and start with the first sign that most astrologers start with, which is Aries. Now, Aries comes in with having to deal with the issues of the fire element. Fire is the element that is out of control on planet Earth. They call it global warming. And it creates, when there's an excess, anxiety, frustration, anger, hatred, emotional violence, physical violence, murder. And what is self murder, murdering yourself, which is suicide. All of those things have to do with excess fire. And that's what the fire elements, which are Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo, that's what they have to deal with. Controlling this element that gives the vitality for movement. It gives you vitality. Too much of it, then you get frustrated. That's when insomnia started becoming an issue, which it wasn't until 40 years ago, was when the fire element started to dominate the balance of the four elements. Okay, before that, if you didn't sleep for 3 nights in 1 month, you went to the doctor. And the doctor said, oh my God, you have insomnia. And you came home and said, he says, I have insomnia. Yeah, you can't sleep. Well, what changed? The fire element started to take over. Why did it take over? All of our electronic devices radiate the fire element. Hot. Okay, so Aries has to deal with the fire element more than 9 of the other astrological signs. But what do you need to know now, Aries? You're too impatient. People are trying to give you information. Even your enemies, with the problems they present you with, are trying to give you information. And you're not listening because you're too impatient. So you need to figure out how to reduce that fire. The new Fox sensory therapy video with the frequency 420 of cannabis will help you dramatically to reduce the fire. We have it 10 hours long. You can have it on all day and all night. Going to the beach, water, water, water. What puts out fire? The water element and the earth element. Go to the mountains, go to the beach, the water, and get it moved. Get your elements balanced so that you can actually be able to hear what people are saying, and within what they're saying and what they're presenting you with, or what they're throwing at you, there's a message for you. And if you could get yourself to listen to it because you're not scrambling and moving too quickly, your process of ascension is going to be easier. Let's go ahead on to the next sign, which is Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign. Earth is what gives us stability, can't knock us down that easily, foundation, grounding. But then earth signs have issues with that. They can be too grounded, like Taurus can be stubborn, and you can't get them to move easily, or sometimes not at all. And then they make decisions, but then they have a hard time actually moving ahead with that decision, which is what's been happening with Taurus. They're hanging on to their earth element when they really need some fire. And looking at water would help them to move also. So what do you need to know, Taurus? You need to get out of your comfort zone. Yeah, you made the decision. Congratulations, you made the decision. Did you do anything about it? You talked about it, you thought about it, but did you actually do something about it? No. Okay, so why don't you find yourself a body of moving water? And if you don't have that, turn on the tub and watch the water as it comes out, the movement of the water. Or we have Fox sensory therapy videos that are free that you can put on for 2 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours. The big screen TV would be great. And then you will fill your environment with moving water, which will help to move towards that you decided that you wanted or that you were going to do. Okay? Balancing out your elements. By the way, every medicine on planet Earth since inception knows that health is a balance of the four elements. The only medicine that does not know that is modern medicine. And the medical doctors, perhaps if you ask them to name the four elements, maybe some of them won't even know how to name it. They won't know that every food, every plant, everything has an element. But it's been the least successful of all of the medicines on the planet. You know that they have done studies for several years in a row of the 17 most advanced nations on planet Earth and their healthcare systems. The healthcare system of the 17 major countries that is the least efficient, has the more unhealthy people, is American medicine, United States. And the healthcare system that is the most expensive of all of the 17, the United States. So we have the most expensive healthcare system and the least efficient, because they don't balance the elements. So Taurus, you need more fire, not a lot, more water, movement. And you'll get that in your environment, transference of energy from even a photograph, a painting, a video, documentaries with water. Okay? We're going on to the next sign, which is Gemini. Gemini is a male sign, and the element it has to deal with that is most challenging is the air element. Thoughts, ideas, creativity. Gemini, what's going on? Gemini, you had one project that was really important for you for a long time, and you didn't get any place with it. You perfected it, you changed it, you grounded it, you landed, but it didn't go anyplace, and you dropped it. You need to get back to that project now. And you don't want to. because it's old, you gave up on it, you're tired, you feel negative about it. You tried so long and you never got any place with it. But now's the time. The world is a different place. So go back, dust it off, do a couple of mantras or some prayers to be able to become enthusiastic about it again. Okay? Who do you know that's a Gemini? President Trump. And I am Cancer Gemini. In my case, I discovered the cannabinoid system in 92, right after they discovered it in Korea, also 92, but before. And what I discovered, I wrote a book and then another book, and then I did all sorts of work, and my work today is based on that. But nobody was listening to the structure, to all the information that I had. They weren't listening. It was like something surreal was not allowing this information to get any place. Now the cannabinoid system is all over the place. And they, by the way, are a series of strings which channel your mind. So I call them mind strings. And they have to do with string theory. But it wasn't time. And now I don't want to go back to those books that are already written. So I understand. But Gemini, do some mantras, do some prayers, dust it off. Maybe sit it in the sun so it gets some fire. That's a good idea. I'm going to do that. So get your project. And even if you don't have the project like physically, put the name of the project on a piece of paper and put it in the sunlight. Not to where it burns. You can put it on your windowsill, but that it gets sunlight for several hours, and you will be infusing it with fire vitality because it lost the vitality because you didn't think it was ever going to get out there. Okay? I'm going to do that. This is good advice for me. So we're going to go on to the next sign, which is Cancer. Cancer is a female sign. It's a water sign. Water's emotions. So what does Cancer need to know? Cancer has an issue having to do with relationships, particularly family and friends and people. And this part of the physical body, this part, the upper quadrant, has to do with relationships, business, mates, and then at the bottom of that quadrant, it has to do with children and projects. And Cancer has been totally blocked with both. So I think there is a need for movement and a need for water. The water element, movement, and it also includes emotions. So maybe you've been distant from your family, or you haven't had a mate, or you've been distant from the person you want to be with. There needs to be movement, and it's been a long time. So I suggest documentaries with water, documentaries on whales and on fish and on dolphins. All those documentaries or all those movies that are where it plays out on the beach, on water, going to the beach. We can't drink more water, but filling your bathtub with water and watching the water come out of the faucet. I had an Ayurvedic doctor recommend to me decades ago that I get a picture of a beach scene and put it in my living room. And darn, we can be really dumb. I thought he was trying to correct my decor. And I thought that was really kind of funny because he was not really good at decoration. He actually wanted for me to have that there for the energy of the beach water to transfer movement of water. But I didn't know, and he didn't explain. So do this, Cancer, and the opening up to relationships, business, mates, and children is going to be a lot easier. I'm Cancer, and that absolutely applies to me. Very interesting because this helps me. Okay, so let's go on to the next sign, which is Leo. Leo is a male sign and it's a fire sign, so they have issues with their fire. Okay, so what does Leo need to know this week, the 6th to the 12th of October 2025? Leo, you need to forgive yourself. You have an awful lot of fire in your solar plexus, which is personal power. But the mind strings, the cannabinoid receptors that extend from there, double back. You actually want them to really extend out because then the world of your influence extends out. But you've burned yourself up with too much fire. I think you need to drink aloe vera, which is a plant that reduces fire. It's also very good for the skin, but in your case, you need to get it into your digestive system. And aloe vera is going to help a lot. Coconut water is going to help a lot. Um, Being willing to admit you're not perfect is going to help a lot, Leo. You know that you like to do things right, and you like for people to know that you do things right. And it's not going to work because everybody makes mistakes, including you. And you need to be willing not to put on national television the fact that you've made mistakes, but appropriately when you're working with people, when you're doing things, say, you know what, I changed my mind, which to you, Leo, means I made a mistake. No, it means you thought about it and you have a different opinion now, which is what we all do, Leo. It doesn't mean you made a mistake. So you made a mistake, so it makes you human. Human, okay? Get over it. This whole perfectionist thing is really very daunting, and it also really holds you back. Your personal power is ready to expand dramatically. Your solar plexus is ready to spin in the correct direction, which is from right to left, which is excellent. You have a lot of personal power, and your perfectionism and your shame is holding it back. Get over it. Forgive yourself. Okay, Leo? Continuing on, we have Virgo, which is a female sign and it's an earth sign. Virgo, I usually see right next to a hole in the ground. And astrologers seem to agree with that. They already know that. I know it through remote viewing. So, Virgo, and Virgos are also perfectionists, but they want to be perfect for themselves. They need to know that they did things right. And if they don't, they feel bad. A Leo wants for others to understand that they know how to do things right. It's the perfectionism, different angles. Virgo, you need to forgive yourself and keep moving forward. No, no, no. Start moving forward, Virgo. You've been stuck for an awful long time, and you should be proud of yourself. And stop looking back and looking at the things you didn't do right. It's okay. Welcome to the human race. Keep moving forward. It feels like you're getting like a breath of fresh air. You're getting out of that. It's not a box. The box is in the ground next to you. It's like almost like an invisible walls that you've kept yourself inside. And it's feeling kind of good for you to feel like you're going to be getting out of that enclosure, invisible enclosure, that the only person who put that there was you, which means you should be able to get out of it easier. Okay? You're not in a physical prison, and you're not a place where other people want you to be. You're a place where you put yourself, and you're getting out of it. And this is good. This is good, Virgo. Continuing on, we go to Libra, which is an air sign. So the element is air. Ideas, creativity, need some grounding. There you go with the balance of the elements. What's going on with Libra? I see Libra crawling out of the basement, symbolically calling out of tremendous darkness, literally on your hands and knees, one step at a time. And grabbing at you are these monsters that are very real, grabbing at your feet and your legs and trying to yank you back into that basement of horrors. And you're determined, and you're getting out, and you're at the top, and you have several flags, several sticks with flags on them, and you're waving them, but you're not waving to be rescued. These are projects, thoughts, stuff that you want for the world, or stuff that you want to give to the world, and you're holding on to them as you're crawling out of darkness. This is good. And it's been obvious that Libras have been into tremendous darkness. It's not a question of whose fault was this. If if it's astrological, and it appears it is, that it's their part of the process of the person to learn something, understand something, do something, or to use what they learned while they were in darkness to be able to help other people once they're able to extricate. Am I pronouncing that correctly? This whole thing with two languages is making me a little bit, it's lowering the quality of my speech in both languages. Darn. Um, so Libra, you're in a tough place, but you're in a good place. Okay, keep going. You're right there. You're at the landing. Next sign, Scorpio. Scorpio is a female sign and a water sign, which means emotions. For at least a year, if not longer, I've seen Scorpio in a place. He doesn't want to be there. She doesn't want to be there. There's a suitcase there ready to escape. And then several weeks ago, Scorpio closed the suitcase and started to walk out down the hall with the suitcase, clothing falling out of the suitcase. It wasn't closed properly, but he was escaping. Scorpio was escaping. And then Scorpio stopped. A couple weeks ago, Scorpio came back. And then sat at a desk, or was at a table, and then extended a map. And all these people came around to see what Scorpio was going to show them on the map, which I have no idea. This is symbolic. So just the Scorpio, or to yourself if you're Scorpio. That was till now. This week, I see Scorpio there sitting at a chair at the desk, big map, the people surrounding him, and they put a crown on Scorpio's head and a cape. And I hear the word, which I heard in Spanish when I did the horoscopes in Spanish, Space Force. I don't know anybody in Space Force. I don't know. Maybe somebody else can think this through. I have no idea. That's the information I have. So, for Scorpio, maybe you're going to make somebody who's a Scorpio the head of Space Force. I have no idea. Not my job. Continuing forward. After Scorpio, we have Sagittarius, which is a male sign and a fire sign. Sagittarius, I feel bad for Sagittarius. Honestly, they have not been true to themselves because they've been too busy pleasing other people that they got lost. But they got lost a long time ago. Well, and then I have seen them for several weeks. They're inside a garage. There's a car. There's people on both sides of the car, but everybody's standing outside of the car. At one point, they got in the car and they drove off, but now they're back in the garage with the car, and there's people standing there, and they're arguing at each other over the top of the car. And then all of a sudden, what do you call those apparatuses they use in construction sites where you pick up stuff and you move it from one place to the other with the big long arm, several stories high. One of those, who the hell knows what the name is right now, drops a net over the car. So everybody that's standing next to the car jumps into the car really quick, lifts it up, gone. And the Scorpio, or the Sagittarius, has been removed from that place with his people, all of whom are arguing. And then people in the house try to come through the door to the garage, yelling and screaming, but they're gone. Sagittarius finally left. Now, they left about a week ago, but then apparently they came back because they're back in the garage. I have no idea what this means, other than the dictator of Venezuela is a Sagittarius, and I perceived it through remote viewing, and then all the Venezuelans told me, yeah, we know that he wants to leave. It's his group, the military around him, they don't want him to leave, because then where are they going to go? So it looks like somebody external is going to be able to pull the dictator out if we want to apply that to the dictator of Venezuela. But that's up to you. I pay a lot of attention to politics because we still have politicians trying to control me. Whatever. So anyway, let's go on to the next sign. Capricorn. Capricorn is a female sign, believe it or not, and it is an earth sign. Stability, stability, stability. And what do I see this week? Capricorn is always taking care of his property, and his people are inside the property, and he's protecting everybody, and he has different plans every week. In terms of what I see in remote viewing, it's obviously symbolic, and there's different things that he does to protect the property because the property is protecting his people. And this week he's putting Dorian is saying too political. These are the horoscopes that I give. I connect it to real people that all of you will know, and I think that that helps, but I cannot help you, Dorian. Okay? But there's so many astrologers out there, so don't get frustrated with me. So Capricorn is putting up red flags outside of his property, and red flags means danger. And I looked it up right in my last chat when I did the horoscopes in Spanish. And red flags, like at the beach, means don't go in the water. It's dangerous. So basically, Capricorn is saying, don't come in here. It's going to be dangerous. You could end up drowning. So again, Capricorn, taking care of people, his people. It's interesting because I would have thought that Capricorn would be much more involved with their bank accounts. But that's not the case, which means that all that emphasis on money and putting away has everything to do with making sure his people has what they need, which is kind of sweet. Okay, we're going on to the next sign, which is, what is it? Aquarius. Aquarius. Male sign, air sign, thoughts, the mind. Of all of the air signs, Aquarius is the one that has the mind with the widest reach, to the neglect of their emotions and their spirit. We all have our defects. Aquarius, what do I see this week? Normally I see Aquarius like in a room, like a living room, and they've been stuck, and then they were at the door, and then they were outside the door, and then they came back in the door. In other words, I want to leave, I want to change, I need something different. And then they were inside, and they were throwing things against the wall, and they were frustrated, and then they were opening a hole in the ceiling to have more faith, crown chakra. Now I see them in the center of the room, and they're digging, which means they're going into rooting, grounding. And that's their element. That's the element that they need, is the earth element. Too much air, thoughts, you have these great projects and then you never do anything. You never get them landed. You never get them out there. Aquarius has understood something and is now looking to ground, to not be disassociated. Continuing on with the last sign, which is Pisces. Pisces is a female sign, and it's a water sign, and water's emotions. Pisces are born in this incarnation. They wake up and they go, oh no, again? What are they talking about? Obviously subconscious. Lack of compassion on planet Earth, people being mean, injustice, more injustice than fairness. And Pisces goes, no, 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 not again. Pisces reaches this incarnation and they are spiritually drained and exhausted from what they've been through. They're reborn, and it's the same thing all over. They can't take it. So they put themselves in a box. And if you ask a regular astrologer, they're going to tell you that. They put themselves in a box. So what are they doing this week? Pisces don't talk a lot. They don't share. I mean, they can talk a lot, but they don't really share their stuff. Very private. Nope. This week, Pisces is ready to send out telegrams, post things in the newspaper, post things on social media, but they want a wider range than social media. They're looking at a different level. They figured something out. I don't know what they figured out, but they figured something out. And they feel that it's okay. They're going to get out of their comfort zone and they want to share it. I don't know what they're going to do, how that's going to apply to the Pisces that you know. What you do need to know is, until this week, Pisces was ready to gun down anybody that was going to try to control them, which is very contrary to the way Pisces has lived for years or for decades, depending upon how old they are. And I said to my followers, it's not business as usual with Pisces. So you be careful the way you treat a Pisces or the way you handle the Pisces. Be careful with assuming it's business as usual, because it is not. And the fact that they want to share something inside of them to the whole world, not just a few people, this is monumental. And it's very good. Maybe they have some solutions for all that injustice and all that lack of compassion that they were born into. Because as a Pisces, they would have chosen to be born into these situations. I think most people are not aware that children choose their parents before they're born. So the whole thing about, look what my parents did to me, doesn't work. And anybody who knows metaphysics at the level that I would like for everybody to know knows that. You determine what you want in this incarnation. Dorian, I'm sure this is not for you, but this incarnation, you decide before you incarnate what your mission is, what your intentions are. And then you start to choose the people that are going to play it out after you're born, but the veils go down. You don't remember this. So you may ask a soul that resonates with you, listen, I need to meet up with you when I'm like 25, and I need to be married for like 10 years because I won't be ready before then. And at 35, 10 years later, we need to get a divorce. You have to have an affair. I'm going to accuse you of it, and then we're going to separate because of that. But the reality is that I have to do this other thing, and I can't do it if I'm married to you. Would you do that for me? Yeah, sure. And that's the way they do it, literally. It's not just a little theory of mine. Anybody who's deep into metaphysics knows this. You choose your astrological sign before you're born. So then you have to struggle with all the things having to do with that sign, but you chose it because it creates foundations for your mission. Sharing is caring. If I share with you what all the other astrologers share, then I'm not really doing you any good. But you definitely need a different type of astrologer if you're looking for what they traditionally give you. Okay? I'm Frances Fox. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you back. Thank you.